This past week, before he did an interview with a top-rated AM station in St. Louis, and then was interviewed on CNN, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri wrote an op-ed for the fourth highest circulated newspaper in America. In all of those extremely high-profile appearances, he repeated his grievance that he is being, quote, canceled and, quote, muzzled. That's rich. The irony of Hawley freely and openly discussing his being muzzled seems lost on him as he writes about how, quote, corporate monopolies and the left team up to shut down speech like they don't like and force their political agenda on America. For those who still believe in free speech and the First Amendment, this is the time to take a stand, end quote. That's cute, complaining about being canceled while speaking on the Senate floor, complaining about shutting down free speech in a column in a major newspaper. Senator Hawley seems to enjoy taking stands. He's just not overly discerning about their being rooted in truth. And when they clearly aren't rooted in the truth, Hawley believes he bears no responsibility for what he says. Senator Hawley can apparently dish it out, but he can't take it. Hawley's entirely self-inflicted problem started after the 2020 election and before the mob attacked the Capitol. During an interview with Fox News on January the 4th, Hawley was asked if he believed Donald Trump would still be president on January 20th. In response, he said, quote, well, that depends on what happens on Wednesday. You see, Senator Hawley was all in on the lies about election fraud and was suggesting in that Fox interview that then Vice President Mike Pence could magically change the outcome of the election. As we now know, on Wednesday, January 6th, an angry mob stormed the Capitol. Hours later, Hawley, a Yale Law School graduate who knew better, followed the insurrection by rejecting the decisions of literally dozens of judges who declared that there was no voter fraud in the 2020 elections and challenged the legitimacy of millions of legal ballots by voting to overturn the election results. Hawley now claims he wasn't looking for a different outcome, but was simply giving voice to Missourians who were concerned about allegations of fraud. Concerns Hawley himself created by repeating Trump's lies and perpetuating a dangerous disinformation campaign. Some people found Hawley's actions to be a conspiracy too far and chose to question his ethics, not publish his book, and in general, distance themselves from him. To Hawley, that is muzzling. There are actually real people muzzled from speaking their thoughts, and Senator Hawley is not in the same zip code, area code, or country code of any of them. Senator Hawley seems to be mistaking the term muzzled for what am I thinking of? Responsibility? The accomplished and well-educated Hawley seems to believe freedom of speech means not only the right to say whatever he wants, truth and fact be damned, and under no circumstances should his words carry consequences. Unlike those who are truly muzzled from speaking the truth, Hawley is protected by the First Amendment, which at last check is still very much a thing. He's a member of the Senate, which gives him a platform to always speak. And despite losing a book deal because the publishers felt his connection to those who attacked the Capitol and our democracy was a bit over the top, Hawley found another publisher. For a man who claims to be muzzled, Josh Hawley sure does talk a lot.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.